On this day, November 10th, 1775, the Marine Corps was established by the Second Continental Congress. This is how we're going to start the podcast today. Episode 430, and it's being pre-recorded. Unfortunately, I can't be stuck at number 8 the entire rest of my podcasting career, so I got to do something about it. I can't be doing live shows until I have a system that is, for the most part, almost infallible, I guess. Something has got to give, and I can't have silence of like 18 minutes on an episode, because it is when it's syndicated, it is a pain in the ass to try to correct that. And you really don't. You know, mostly places that are automatically syndicated to, you know, like iTunes and iHeart and all those places, it's gone. Once I hit the stop button and I end the podcast, it's gone. I can't bring it back. It would take an act of an army, not God, but an army in order to do that. I want to thank the servicemen and women of the armed forces, and happy birthday to you guys who are in the Marines. But, you know, tomorrow's Veterans Day. You acknowledge those folks that put their lives on the line to protect the country. Yeah, you know, that goes, you know, for military men and women, you know, across the world, because that's what they do. But tomorrow is for those guys here in the United States. We appreciate what you do. And we wouldn't be the way we are today as a country, even though that is laughable at times, if it wasn't for you being able to protect our freedoms. So thank you again. Episode 430, this is the space episode. We got some space news to talk about. And, man, I'm having a hard day today, just with the podcast in general. I feel like at times there are people out there who just can't let go of shit, and they just hold on to it forever. It drives me insane. So I have a little bit of a bitch fit on Discord today. And my thing is, you know, the election's over. Come on. No, it really is. I want you to take it in really deeply, with or without the grease. However you like it. Red or blue, doesn't matter. It's over. It's time to move on. Get back to coronavirus and wearing a mask. And that's the Moonraker phone going off right now. Go back to that. Because you can't change it. It's done with. Why make statements that you're going to put this wall between you and people you probably like or associate with, just because you don't know what their political affiliation is? But, you know, you can't just make blanket statements and shit talk when your guy lost. I just don't know. It drives me insane, to be honest. And the politics game in the United States is fucked up. It's crazy. But if you let it drive you insane in your own personal life, you've got a long road ahead of you. You're going to be upset every fucking 2 years. 4 years for president, 2 years for the folks in Congress. You'll be a one unhappy fucker, let me tell you. But I don't like when people try to spread that unhappiness and that fanaticism in the wrong places. There's a place and time for everything. And sometimes you just gotta let it go. Just let it go. I just had to get that off my chest, to be honest. Just to get things going. So this episode is not live, by the way. Like I said, because of errors in the system and losing audio. So it's pre-recorded. But nonetheless, I still got music for you. Check this out.
How do we get this low? You come over and we start a fight. Never know who's wrong or right. Feel nothing when you go. I know it's not intelligent, drinking for the hell of it, but that's irrelevant now. We should talk about us. How come we're holding on? Cause really I don't see the benefits now. And you've broken my trust, so I just wonder, why do I fall back to you? Really nothing I can do about it. Why do I fall back to you? It's like you're a drug to me, I can't quit. It's not like we're still 22, trying something new, just a pastime. I don't think that we ever could work this out. None of it makes sense, there's no reason why I still fall back to you. Should probably let you go. I know I can be cynical, make everything difficult, but it would take a miracle now to fix our problems. How come we're holding on? 'Cause really I don't see the benefits now, and you've broken my trust, so I just wonder, why do I fall back to you? Really nothing I can do about it. Why do I fall back to you? It's like you're a drug to me, I can't quit. It's not like we're still 22, trying something new, just a pastime. I don't think that we ever could work this out. None of it makes sense, there's no reason why I still fall back to you. Why do I fall back to you? Why do I fall back to you? Fall back to you, fall back to you. Why do I fall back to you? Why do I fall back to you?
Buck just crashed into the door like he was the NYPD. I mean, come on, really? They ain't even wearing a badge, for the love of fucking God. Scared the shit out of me, though. That's what he does now. Kicking doors. Ask questions later. So we're back on Tuesday, back to talking about space. And the very first one is, of course, the SpaceX Crew Dragon is rolling out to the pad, ready for takeoff. This time we have 4 passengers, 4 astronauts are going to be getting on the Crew Dragon this time. And it's not called the demo, though I thought I saw initially they were calling it the demo somewhere. I forgot where the heck I saw that. But no, it's called the Crew-1. This is, ladies and gentlemen, there goes Bugs. This is the very first of the real flights. So the Crew demo that, Bob and Doug were on. That one was a test flight. So it didn't count towards the monies that the government is paying SpaceX for X amount of flights. And I have that in here somewhere. But still, what we're looking at right now is that this is the very first one. It is official. This is part of SpaceX's contract with the government at a total of $2.6 billion. Wow, Bugs. Really? Thank goodness that came from the top end and not the bottom. So this is the very first one, and 6 flights of operational crew missions to the space station. This is number 1. This was actually contracted back in 2014. 6 years later, we finally get to have these flights going up. So I'm sure they're really happy about that shit. So there you go. So here we are. We're going to be sending another Crew Dragon up. Now the launch is going to happen this coming Saturday evening, November the 14th. And these 4 astronauts, and here's who they are, just in case you wanted to know. We got Victor Glover, Mike Hopkins, Shannon Walker, and Japan's Soichi Noguchi. They're going to the orbiting lab on Crew-1. And listen, I'm sure they got a bunch of different tests they're going to run. Some really crazy stuff. Now, the capsule itself, they gave it a name. Because the other one, I think, was called Endeavor. This one, Crew-1, is going to be called Resilience. The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket has already rolled out to Launch Pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. So get ready. It's going to be something else to see because it's only the second one. The second crewed flight for the Crew Dragon. So anything can happen, right? Now, I am expecting thoroughly for SN8 Starship to take off before this happens. There was actually today, November 10th, in the evening, there was another static test of those Raptor engines. I feel like in the next 2 days, the next 48 hours, we will see that hop. And really, if it doesn't happen by Friday, I don't think it's going to happen until after the Crew Dragon Crew-1 takes off, Resilience, with these 4 astronauts, because I don't see it happening at the same time. It's not going to happen on the same day. Elon likes the accolades. So basically, if these things are scheduled back-to-back perfect, 2 successes, kind of, because he doesn't think SN8's even going to freaking land right. Pretty sure it's going to crash. But, the one that matters, the one with the people on it, that's the one that's going to be a success. Hopefully, fingers crossed, no errors. And I could see him waiting to either the day before, a day or two before, get his thumbs up for the SN8 and then go for the kill with the Crew-1. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but we'll see. I got my fingers crossed. We just had the static test, so I am ready to see that thing flop. But best of luck to the Crew-1 astronauts, and hope you get there safely. This is a 6-month-long mission. They're going to be up there on the ISS. That's a long damn time to be up there. And even scarier for me would be that the fucking thing, the Crew-1's just going to be out there sitting outside of the ISS. So who knows what the hell could happen to it after 6 months. I don't know. Scary to me. That is the story for today. There's more in the article. As a matter of fact, if you look at the picture for this particular episode, you will see a picture of the 4 astronauts as they're sitting right before the logo for the mission. Pretty nifty looking logo, if you ask me. I need one of those for the podcast, for sure.
Tambor te llama y están llamando con sentimiento y manana y están llegando H para todos los señoras y señores. Y ay, qué rico está sonando mi rumba. Y ay, qué rico está sonando mi son. Y lo voy a llevar hasta la tumba. Y ahora yo te invito a mi fiestón. Y ahora yo te invito a mi fiestón. ¡Ay! Tu pra, pra, suena mi tambor como va. Ay, suena mi tambor como va, mamá. Tu pra, pra. Tu pra, suena mi tambor como va. Ay, mi tambor te llama con sentimiento y manana. Tu pra, suena mi tambor como va. Ay, rompen los cueros y suenan los tambores. Llegó la hora para olvidar los dolores, mamá. Tu pra, ay, mamá. H Lucumi, H Olofi, H pa' todo el mundo. Ay, nada más. Sabroso Tony de nuevo. Ay, qué rico. Bueno, mira. Toca, Tony. Habla. Colombiare. Ajá. Ey, escucha cómo va. Suena mi tambor cómo va. Anda, ay, y repítelo, papá. Rumbero, te estoy llamando ahora. Suena mi tambor cómo va. Ay, qué rico los bailadores, te estoy llamando ahora. Ay, rumba, suena mi rumba, suénalo, mamá. Suena mi tambor cómo va. Ay, tu pra, Bamba. Suena mi tambor
Ay,
como
suena
va.
mi tambor como va, qué rica está.
We are the Borg. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to service us. Resistance is futile.
Forgot to tell you guys, the music today is all over the place just because it's not live. So I don't get to see the Asgardians complaining about it. And they don't always complain. Sometimes they like it, but I don't get to see that. So now I'm going to play all kind of shit, and I'll hear about it later, I guess, after they actually listen to the episode. The second one that we have for today is also about SpaceX. Apparently, Elon said, fuck the dumb shit. Not only am I going to be shooting up my rockets, phallus style, SN8, 9, 10, and so forth, because those are all sitting over there at the Boca Chica site right now, all the way up to SN10, just sitting around. But I'm also going to put together the one thing that every orbital rocket needs, and that is the booster. The booster is where all the main engines are. It holds all this fuel, and it's what gets the Starship into space. It's already built. In 1 month, SpaceX in Boca Chica has built the booster, the first super heavy booster for the Starship. It's huge. It is humongous. There's a lot of pictures online of this thing. It is just crazy. This is the super heavy, and the reason why it's so big, the reason why it's so humongous, is because it has to hold 28 Raptor engines. Now, if you guys have, some of you are already ahead of the game, right? You've already seen some of the static tests of the single Raptor engine, and you've decided, hey, I'm going to stick around. This shit's fucking interesting. I'm going to stick around and see what the hell Elon is up to, and I'm going to find out what the hell does 3 Raptor engines sound like. If you listen to these, just stick your ear in some headphones and play the recording. Now, keep in mind, when they're doing these static burns, I think it's like either 3 or 5 miles away. I believe that's the distance. It's in between that. Now, some of these guys were allowed to leave unmanned cameras a little closer to the action so that, they can broadcast, because it's advertisement, right, for SpaceX. people get to see things. They don't really have to do it all on their channel. You can have a friendly face, a blue-collar face, talking about the craziness of science and rocketry down in Boca Chica. So they've allowed, certain channels to put these cameras up. And what I tell you, that the sound of 3 Raptor engines is unbelievable. Now, from what I understand, there are also some launch pads that they are constructing. One of them is the orbital launch pad. Now, there is a difference, right? Because the orbital launch pad is going to hold this Super Heavy. And on top of the Super Heavy is going to be the Starship. So just imagine how freaking tall that phallus is going to be. It's going to be huge. Humongous. Right now, the launch pads that we see, SN8, 9, and 10, these guys are probably all going to be suborbital, so they're they're a lot smaller, actually, not even a little. They're a lot smaller, not as wide, because they're only holding 3 Raptor engines, not 28. So there is some, a lot of advancement going on in Boca Chica. A lot of the stuff that you don't see. So unless you're on Twitter following SpaceX or following Elon's personal account, or, just on top of their website or looking on their YouTube channel, you're not going to know these things. I'm going to say this because I've said this like a million times. If you live in South Texas or anywhere where one of these companies is making these leaps, because these are not just small baby steps, they're making leaps. Even Virgin Atlantic, they've got a flight coming up soon. It's a leap. They're in the center of Texas. Come on, listen, Texas is a happening place when it comes to space right now. It really is. And a lot of people, they miss out on it because they just don't know. There's still people in the world today, especially in the United States, who still report UFOs whenever they see the Starlinks go by. Well, anyway, what the hell? The government said, UFOs are real, and no one gives a fuck about that. So, you can't be surprised at stuff like this. But I think that a lot of people are missing, especially the blue-collar folks. A lot of people who normally don't have great opportunities in life, this is a great place to grab some opportunity and even get your children interested in rocketry, especially in Texas. Texas, California, Florida, everywhere that these companies are sprouting up and shooting up these rockets, you got to get involved because it is the future. There's just no way. The only thing that can stop it is some alien force comes down and blow up all our rockets. They kidnap, Bezos, and they take Elon for a good probing, and there goes everything. There goes the whole future. We become slaves, picking bugs out of alien asses, as part of our enslavement. So I don't know. I think that maybe this is a PSA. Get your kids involved. I remember back in school when the space shuttle deal was going off and it first started. The entire school, every damn science teacher was all about the space shuttle. We had freaking school-wide projects going on, not just individually by the class, but everyone in every science class was coming together to do projects to understand the space shuttle. You don't see stuff like that anymore. Heck, my kids don't even know anything about SpaceX, to be honest. So it's a weird thing because it seems like we're taking a lot of things for granted and we're missing out on not just the historical aspect of SpaceX, but the fact that it is the future in so many ways, and not just them, but you got to talk about, again, Bezos. You got to talk what his company is doing. You got to talk about all these other companies that are building suborbital ships for the public to get into. There's something there. That's the future. It really is. But that you can read. The link is in the description. My computer's timing out on me because I've been talking too much, I guess. But check it out. Like I said, the music is a little crazy today. But why stop now?
Messing around.
living the dream. But everybody's singing along. It's okay, we'll all soon be gone. Hey, what's the matter with the bright red lights? Hey, in the moment when the world went blind. But everything's alright. We don't give a damn this time. My daddy was a gambling man with no strategy. Who gives a shit about him anymore? Guess we never really settled the score. Half the town screaming out in vain. The other half is fake. But everybody's singing along. It's okay, we'll all soon be gone. Hey, what's the matter with the bright red lights? Hey, in the moment when the world went blind. But everything's alright. We don't give a damn this time. Yeah! Everyone's a hypocrite. In this game we cannot win. Hey, what's the matter with the bright red lights? Hey, in the moment when the world went blind. But everything's alright. We don't give a damn this time.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
This next article kind of fell right into my bitch fit for today. It really did. I had a BF today, and this is part of it right here. Jim Bridenstine is going to step down as the NASA chief when the President-elect Biden takes over. See, that's part of my bitch fit. Everything I talked about at the beginning of the podcast, this is it rolled into NASA right now. I mean, really, that's the way it's going to go down now. Apparently, when President-elect Joe Biden takes his place from his victory, which a lot of people don't accept, I get it, move on. He says he's done. He's quitting. He's given up. He's putting in his notification of abandonment. That really is what it is. I mean, let's look a little bit past Joe Biden. I mean, I don't know if him and Joe Biden went out for drinks one time. They got drunk and maybe some things were said between each other, and now Rocking Joe doesn't really care too much for Jim, and Jim doesn't care for Biden. So I don't know what it is. Maybe they could settle it that way. Just go out and have some drinks. Who knows? But according to an interview that he had with Aerospace Daily and Defense Report, which happened on Sunday, actually, there was a quote in here that they published. You need somebody who has a close relationship with the President of the United States, somebody trusted by the administration, including the Office of Management and Budget, National Space Council, National Security Council, and he says, I think I would not be the right person for that in a new administration. Now, either he's telling us he's not liked by any of those councils at all, and finally, not having the president on his side, he's pretty much fucked and he's going to screw things over. Or he's saying that his political affiliation is much more important than NASA is, than the National Space Council, than the National Security Council, or even the Office of Management and Budget. I'm not really sure what it is. What is going on with this? And is it really that much of a political oversight of NASA? If it is, then there's a problem. Really. If your head of NASA decides to quit just because someone who swings to the left is going to take over the country for 4 years. Come on, for fuck's sake. What about your career? What about all the shit you did already with NASA? Artemis and stuff like that. Does that mean anything to you? Are you just going to jump ship and leave all the people you've been leading to this new vision for NASA, leave them all behind because of politics? That just makes no sense to me. But fuck, I don't even get it. I don't. And it's probably why I get upset about fanatics when it comes to politics. It's because of shit like this. Really. Drives me insane. There's another quote in here that says, there is a political agreement that America needs to do big things in space exploration, that we need to lead the world. There have been lessons learned from the past, and I think Congress is in a good position to make sure that we have sustainable programs going forward. This he actually put inside of a tweet. Well, apparently he does get along with the current president because he likes to tweet. And he put that all in there. In another one, he said there is a lot of people that can do great work at NASA as a NASA administrator. And in the article itself, if you click on it, he goes through like a freaking names of people. Like, really, listen, just pack up your shit and go. We don't need your opinion on stuff. That just bothers me. It really does. Here it is. NASA is at a point where they really have to pivot. Commercial space exploration and building and technology is about to, frankly, outlap NASA's ability. It really is. But this guy was there doing the whole Artemis thing and planning for the moon and all this other shit and, writing stuff for SpaceX and all this competition they had with Boeing and all that kind of stuff. But you apparently can't be under a guy that likes the color blue. Or is it red? See, I don't even know because I really don't care. It's just crazy to me. It really is. Your politics of leading this particular administration of the government, known as NASA, should be about NASA, not about the president. Yeah, I'm sure that you have to talk to a lot of fuckers in your life who you don't agree with. So fucking what? And if he really believed that Congress had the back of NASA, he'd stay. Because no matter what, NASA's still going to need someone there with the experience. So it's weird. So I guess now, unless you're a Democrat, you cannot lead NASA. How ridiculous is that? That just it just infuriates me, to be honest. It's a bad day at UFO Buster Radio, especially because this last election. For fuck's sake, it's just weird. I'm gonna do that too. As a matter of fact, I don't want any listeners if they go to a certain political affiliation, and they shouldn't listen to me either because Lord knows I like to talk about politics on this podcast. I hate it. I really do. And the fact that he made that decision, really, go give the your last name back to those bears from the UK. Come on. I'm done with them. I really am. You should just quit now. Why you gotta wait to when you get sworn in? Pull yourself up by your big girl panties and quit now and give up all that money, buddy. What the fuck is he gonna do now anyway? Get a hotel at the Trump Towers? I don't think so.
I was on a mission, I was on
This last article talks about a experiment that dealt with bacteria that was actually left on the outside of the space station for a whole damn year. And actually, the article actually says a whole damn year. Yeah. Now you know that when you see folks coming down from the space station, where, you know, for however much time they're up there. Like we know that when Scott Kelly was up there, and he spent a whole year on the ISS back in 2015, when he came down, you know, he had to be put on a stretcher, a wheelchair. He had lost a bunch of muscle density, muscle mass and bone density because he was up there for so long. And he actually has sore feet for about 3 months after that because of the difference in gravity, you know. But you also got to talk about, you know, the other things that they might experience, like radiation and all that crazy stuff. Well, they decided to take a particular bacteria that's known to kind of survive things like radioactivity. It is a, let me just give you the name of it. It's the Nococcus radiodurans. Yeah, whatever. And so basically, this bacteria, it's really weird. It was first found in a can of meat, if you could believe that. But they took this thing up and they set it up at the outside of the space station for a year to see if it could survive, basically. It was out there in a pressurized module of the ISS, and they've been pretty much investigating this particular microbes, especially even those that are like it, for some time. There was a setup done in 2015 by an international team at this in a mission called the Tampopo mission, which happened outside of the Japanese experimental module, the Kibo, because it was put together to test hardy bacterial species. Now, if you want to know whether or not it survived, yes, for a whole year, in a pressurized, basically fiberglass little thingy there, this bacteria was put in there and it survived. Yeah. Radiodurans passed with flying colors. But it's not the first time, right? Back in August, there was an article that was written about a sample of this particular bacteria that was actually left up there in the middle of space for a whole 3 years. Isn't this crazy? Like bacteria in space lasting for that long. That is absolutely nuts. This thing was up there in the latest test for a year, facing radiation, freezing, boiling temperatures, no gravity. And when they brought the bacteria back down to Earth, they rehydrated it. And they also compared it to a control, bunch of bacteria, a control sample here on the planet Earth. And they compare the results. Basically, there was a lower survival rate for these the bacteria that was in low Earth orbit, or LEO, as you see in the title for this particular podcast. But they also had lived. They lived a little shorter, but they also looked a little different. Their bodies looked a little different. The ones that were up in LEO, low Earth orbit, they looked like they grew spikes. They looked rugged. They weren't smooth. These guys look like they've been through hell, exactly, because that's what they went through. But they survived. So according to science, it's going to help us determine or find ways to enhance their survivability of possibly a trip to Mars. But on the other side, the UFO Buster Radio side, I'm thinking, fuck. If this bacteria can sit out there in space for a whole damn year, and not the first time, before it lasted 3 years, what kind of shit are we going to bring back to the planet from Mars? And even vice versa. What kind of shit are we taking? Are we taking COVID-19 to Mars and all these other places? And what would it turn into? Because as you saw, or you will see when you look at this article, this thing changed. It wasn't the same. Wasn't the same bacteria that went out there. Physically, it was different. But there's got to be more changes. Something else must have happened to it when it went up there. Because we're never going to know that, right? They're not going to tell us. But think about the fact that this bacteria, at the longest 3 years, survived in the most extreme conditions of space. But yet, they want to tell us that life has to be perfectly balanced. You have to be in a Goldilocks zone in order for life to thrive. Apparently not. Apparently, nothing is too extreme for life. If you're a multicellular animal like this particular bacteria, it's just crazy that these things happen, and we're expected to think that it is very uncommon to find life in the universe. But for fuck's sake, bacteria is showing us that that's not the case. Even in extreme cases, extreme conditions, life will thrive. It might change a little. You might come out with one leg less, or maybe one arm is shorter than the other, or one eye, but still, life will thrive in the most harshest of conditions. This bacteria just proved it. You take that, you put it together with water everywhere else that continuously just pops up everywhere. And more we're seeing scientists kind of agree that maybe water is a bit more common than what we think. But I guarantee you that in that water, in the middle of fucking nowhere, there is bacteria in it. And that bacteria will one day, it might be 1,000 years or so, 2, 3, 4,000, 30,000 years, will eventually evolve into something, if it hasn't already by the time we get there. But just think about the bacteria that for billions of years has been evolving on Mars, and what could happen when we bring that back to this planet. COVID-45 is just a hop skip away. I'm telling you, we got to watch out for this. The article is in the description. You can check out what this poor little bacteria ended up coming back to the planet looking like fucking Frankenstein. And just think about that. I mean, it's not far-fetched what I'm saying, to be honest. Come on, you already know it. You know this. Sugargate 2035, it's on its way. I promise. This is the end of the podcast. I'll check you guys in the next couple days. But please, just let it go. Just let it go.
I'm sturdy like a milli rocket. Skin clear, still look young. Andy Miller knockers, money in my pocket. Don't call me a money pocket. Engine get to rocket. It sound like a thunder rocket. Yeah, I still love my baby even when it's toxic. Crazy like she Britney, but no, she don't shade the knock. Russell Wilson way I get along and stay in the pocket. I get paid and do my dance like a touchdown. Yeah, I can't do no time, don't leave that gun around. In my teens, we were acting up and running around. Now we're grown, still get to it if it's necessary. On the ground from January to January. Never met nobody who retired when they were young. So I guess I gotta get it to the cemetery. Getting paid just for rapping is fun. I lit up around a month in February. Told him side, no electric. Yeah, it's getting hectic. 777. 777. Yeah. Told him side, no electric. Yeah, it's getting hectic. 777. Yeah. 777. Couple of money in my head just to say they did it. Can't lie, I'm so paranoid and the windows tinted. I own everything around me, you can say it's rented. Not talking phone numbers when I'm talking 7 digits. Earn it by the day, every second minute. Used to pay me none, look, now they pay attention. Everybody say they drip, but I banded it. See them copy all the looks, but I stay switching. Pick up the loot, then hit the bank. Can never change, still wrote the change. Captain say the pay, this ain't the day. They made me wait, I'm breaking chains. Yeah. Told me feeling bubbly off the rose. Took a minute, but I got it out the slow way. Friends turn to foes, haters tell them go away. Rappers make a shiggy dance like a soul train. Told them side, no electric. electric. Yeah, it's getting hectic. 777. Yeah, 777. Yeah, told him slide no electric. Yeah, it's getting hectic. 777. Yeah, 777.